welcome to Things Podcast, where you get kids' views on world news. Now, I know it's been a while because of Things Podcast lockdown. Me and Dylan managed to get out of Terraria Let's Play. However, it seems like every time we tried to actually record a podcast during lockdown, it would always be me, Whilliam, Caden sharing the dankest of memes. Anyway, now that New Zealand has moved to alert level 2, we're finally back at it again with our first story today. South Korea's FC Seoul fined for using sex dolls to fill empty seats. So, this South Korea's FC Seoul, I don't know what that means, it was fined around NZ $133,000 for filling empty seats in a stadium with sex dolls to fill up the seats, seeing as no one could come because of COVID-19. Now, some of these were dressed in the club's kit, and some of them were holding up signs saying something. But apparently the people who run this said they didn't realize that these sex dolls were adult products. So, what do you guys think about this story? Is it stupid?
Yes. I think they should have kind of double-checked, even if their story is true. I think they should have double-checked. And also, I think they should just own that nobody was going to come to the stadium. You know what I mean? Or maybe postpone the game. I do not know. Also, I think that sum of 133,000
Yes,
NZ. I think that was a bit harsh, just because if it was a mistake, then that's a pretty big mistake.
Thank you for your opinion, Dylan. I too agree it's a pretty big mistake. I personally don't see how it could have offended such people, but I can see how some families might think that inflatable dolls and clothes, actually I can't. I mean, they might have inappropriate names and could be used for inappropriate things. However, they're just inflatable dolls and clothes. I don't feel that it would be fine if they had asked them to take them down. That's perfectly reasonable. But I too think it's quite harsh. So, Whilliam, what are your thoughts on this story?
Why?
Please elaborate.
What is there to say? Who would do this? Why?
Many people and many things.
But why?
So basically you're saying you want to be fired from things because you never contribute anything?
Preferably not.
There you have it. Whilliam.
Fire William.
There you go. Whilliam, member of Things Podcast, and hardly does anything. Anyway, on to our next story, and this one will most likely be the main story of today. What is the fate of rentable e-scooters in Wellington? Like Flamingo Jump, they've always been nice, you put them on your phone, the app on your phone, and then you use them and drive around for free. The Wellington Council did a survey that showed that a lot of people, like the vast majority of people, are in support of them staying, but people are still worried about the danger that they pose to the rider and to the pedestrian, because the presence of e-scooters on Wellington streets is something Anna Mellinson has to deal with on a daily basis. She lives on Oriental Bay, where it is often free-for-all. There will be bikes, runners, skateboarders, pedestrians, and now e-scooters, all in the same space, like a free-for-all heading to... Oh, what a good joke to make is.
We need a joke. Quick.
heading to a anime convention. Oh no, they're heading to the to stores on the Black Friday sale so they don't miss out. You know, it's very violent. So a survey conducted over June to December last year showed that her concerns are shared. 38% of the 6,000 plus who took part said they felt unsafe when sharing a footpath with e-scooters. That is quite a lot. If that many people are feeling unsafe, I feel like it should change. Like, maybe there should be a bike lane. Do you agree, or do you have something else to say, Whilliam?
Yeah, not really. Yes.
There you have it, boys. Whilliam, member of Things Podcast, doesn't do anything. Dylan, do you have anything to say on this matter so far?
There is already bike lanes, right? Because they're constructing, they're actually making quite a lot of bike lanes, but there still isn't really enough because most of the roads still don't have that much bike lanes, and I guess they could, I mean, there isn't that. They need that space for cars, but if they can't figure out the situation, then I'm guessing they're gonna have to just ban e-scooters.
About banning e-scooters, over that period that the survey happened, there were also nearly 540 reported crashes, about 1/3 of which became a claim to the ACC. Melanson, who's the president of Oriental Bay Residents Association, said they've reached out to the council previously to try and establish clear spacing on the parade for all people. We suggested we went back to the white line they used on Oriental Parade about 15 years ago, she stated. And so, or she also stated, so you'd have wheeled traffic on one side, e-bikes, e-scooters, and other non-e things, and pedestrians on the other. Anything is going to have the odd problem, but that's what we would like. She said the idea was dismissed by the council. So, the council here dismissed a decision that could potentially help 38% of all people feel more safe when walking, or mainly on Oriental Parade. So, what are your thoughts on this, other two? Should the council not have dismissed, or do you think everything is fine and jolly as it is?
They shouldn't have dismissed. They really shouldn't have. That would have been a good idea. I don't know why.
Please elaborate, Whilliam.
I mean, is there a need to elaborate?
Okay, Dylan. Dylan, would you like to show Whilliam what we normally do when we're having civil debates here, and share your opinion?
Well, I think that if they did that option right, they could have tried it out, and then maybe if it worked quite well, they could incorporate that on other areas of the town.
Now, Dylan, I have something to say about yours. So, I agree with one thing and I disagree with another. They should, I agree that they should at the very least try it out and see if things change. However, bringing it to other parts of the town, I slightly disagree with, just because Oriental Bay is such a wide road that it'd be easier, and a lot of other streets are way too skinny to be set up into like 4 quarters, one for going upward as a pedestrian, one for going downward as a pedestrian, one for going up riding something, and one for going down something. You just can't split that much. But I do agree that they should try it on Oriental Bay.
What? It doesn't have to. Well, I mean, when they try it and it works out, they don't have to just do it on the slim streets. Like they could be other streets in Wellington that are more. That you use.
Like maybe Cuba Street or places like that.
Yeah.
Well, moving on. Multiple e-scooters hit Wellington Street just last June, with two main companies, or only two companies, Jump and Flamingo, given licenses to operate for a 6-month trial period, which has now ended. Now the decision has to be made on whether or not to make them a more permanent fixture. Now, we could go on and on with this story because we're reading it off an article, but I feel like this should be the end here. The last decision. Should it become a more permanent fixture, or shouldn't it? William, do you have something to say on this matter? Please give your answer, then give a reason to your answer, and maybe some other possibilities.
Kind of. I think they should have it going in like bays and things. Because if you want to take a scenic route, you can get it. It won't be, shorter distance. But in town, no, because it's not. Yeah, way too busy in town.
Thank you for your opinion, William. That was your first decent answer this time. Dylan, what do you have to say on the matter?
I agree with William on that, and I also think that they should stay, but I think there should be maybe they could lower the speed maybe, but then lower the price as well, because if they're slower then they can because nobody would want to pay the same price for a slower speed, you know what I mean? And also I think that I think they should go back and have a look at what the most cause of crashes, because they could strike those first, and that means that the scooters could still run while they're putting all these laws in place and stuff. Because if the scooters don't, when they come back, of course, and the government makes them stop while they're doing all the laws and stuff, I think that the government might have to pay them to keep running. You know how they did that with planes and plane companies. So I'm thinking it might just save them a little bit of time when they can strike down on the most common, worries.
Now, my opinion, I think both of you have had good ideas. Now, what I think is, as of now, no, they shouldn't come back. First of all, COVID-19, people will be getting their hands all over the handles, and that could be incredibly unsanitary, and they could be very hard to clean because they'd be scattered all over the city, so it'd be hard to round them all up.
Oh yeah, don't do it in COVID. That's just.
And second of all, I'd like to look earlier. So in 6 months there were 540 crashes. That's close to 100 per month.
And how many happened in town?
It doesn't say.
That's what they want you to think.
But that would just be in around Wellington. That's still not very good. That's more than one a day. So I agree that they should be slowed down. We should definitely wait until after COVID, and we should get better laws about riding electric scooters in the city, town, and everywhere else to make it less hard for everyone and make everyone feel more safe.
This is a bit off topic, but in England they have this really, in my opinion, stupid law about e-scooters, like private ones. You can only ride your private e-scooter on your private property. So you can only ride your e-scooter around your house. No.
You see, there's a simple fix to that problem. Buy the country.
Yes. Genius.
Okay. Thank you for your opinion, Dylan. Now this wraps up our main story of today. There will be more, but please type in the comments what you think about this. What should happen to e-scooters? Should they stop? Should they be re-given? Or what solution do you have to all the problems listed here? Now, on to a more funny story to help lighten the mood a bit, seeing as this was more depressing and serious. Not quite depressing, but serious and not funny. A 5-year-old in Utah, America, stole his family's SUV, planning to buy a Lamborghini. So, this youngin' here, this absolute zoomer, decided that he would take their family's SUV for a ride after his mum refused him to buy the prestigious Italian supercar.
A Lamborghini.
The unnamed Utah Highway Patrol officer told a news conference that he initiated a traffic stop when he thought that there might be a drunk driver or someone experiencing a medical emergency. So, good on him. And around on the southbound 15 freeway north of Salt Lake City on Monday, I hit my siren and the car did immediately pull over to the left. I approached the vehicle and I was expecting to find somebody who needed an ambulance or paramedics, he said. And it was pretty clear when the window came down that it was a very young, very underage driver. The boy was perched on the edge of the driver's seat to reach the pedals, because we've all done that when we've pretended to drive our parents' cars. Now, so here's where it gets good. He said he was intending to drive to his sister's house in California before finding up a dealer and offering up his life savings. Now, viewers, could you please type in the comments what you think his life savings are? Do you think he might have saved up a lot of trauma money? Maybe 100, 200? What do you think?
Type in the comments. Pause here.
Okay, now that you've done that, his life savings, the things he spent his entire life working for, was $3. Now, when I found this story and was reading through it, I asked some people, do we think he's a spoiled brat or just an absolute dum-dum?
Mad lad.
Well, yeah, that's fair. But I think we've come to the conclusion that he's stupid because he thought he could buy a prestigious Italian supercar for a whole $3.
I mean,
The cheapest listing is $200,000. Now, I'm not sure if this is NZ or US, but I'm guessing it's US.
NZ 200, US 175. It says there.
The US don't use pounds.
175 pounds. I'm really good at big brains. I mean, do you know what I think he's going to do? Haggle the price down a bit, you know? You could easily get to 300 cents. Wait, say 300.
Okay.
Felt sensible.
So that was the finish of this story. It was quite simple, but first, of course, I need to ask you guys, do you have anything to say on this matter?
Yes, I agree with this child. He is brother in arms. Yes, that's all I have to say. I'm being lazy, Whilliam, again.
I just have to say, did this kid get like fined or anything because of his. Because if he was a kid, then into an accident.
Yes, now, although I agree, it seems like he did have some experience, seeing as he knew that when the sirens of the highway patrol went off, to move to the left. And regarding your first question, all it says in the article is that the boy's parents were called to the scene where they took custody of their son as well as the car, according to officials. Now, personally, I think the parents should have gotten a fine for some sort of child neglectment. First of all, how do you not realise that your kid and son are missing? And if they did, why didn't they call the cops on him? He could have gotten into a crash and gotten hurt.
Yeah.
Not to mention, how does he know all this stuff about the road? Did you, let him take your car for a test drive?
How do they not notice
and
their
ha-
entire car
yeah.
is missing along with their son? Like,
Exactly. So I think the parents should probably get some sort of punishment for this. Although the
3
kid
trillion years in
probably
prison.
didn't know what he was doing.
yeah, probably
And he probably didn't know the consequences. Well, now that that's done,
not. Oh, yeah,
that's all our stories for today. Make sure to type any comments about any of the news you might want to see or any of the news you heard on here. Well, but this has been Things Podcast, where you get kids' views on world news.
I was helpful. Yeah.
Out.